Once again, viewers, you are still on to the Guru Masters, the expert mentors. In our last class, we looked at the names of the G clef or treble clef notes. We were able to look at the lines and spaces, and we briefly mentioned the ledger lines. These are the lines above and below the staff. The staff is enlarged or expanded by added lines called ledger lines. The staff, which we know, the staff has 5 lines and 4 spaces. So this staff is enlarged or expanded by added lines called ledger lines. And 2 notes can be obtained by having one below the staff and another above it, as shown below. As you can see, this is the G clef. You can see a note below it, the first line, D, and the line above it being above the last line, line 5, being G. So ledger lines below the treble staff. We're going to look at those ledger lines below the treble clef. Remember, we said there are those lines that are below or above the staff. We have 5 lines and 4 spaces in a staff. We can also have additional lines above the staff and below the staff. So we are going to look at the ledger lines now below the treble clef. The ledger lines below the treble staff can be carried further if desired. As indicated above, as you can see here, C is upon the first ledger line below the G clef. You can see it here. This is C, is below the G clef staff. The next one, B, is below the first ledger line, which we can see below the treble staff. A is upon the second ledger line, which we can see below the treble staff. G is below the second ledger line below the treble staff, as we can see in the diagram. Further, F is upon the third ledger line below the treble staff. So as you can see, that is what the ledger lines are, because they cannot be contained in the complete staff, so we can add them below or above. We are going to experience the beauty of these ledger lines when we enter into real practice on the keyboard. Further, we are also going to look at the ledger lines above the treble staff. We've looked at the ledger lines below. We're also going to look at the ledger lines above the staff. As we can see, this is the staff. 5 lines and 4 spaces. But that doesn't mean we can also not have a line above. So the first line after F is A. From above, A is upon the first ledger line above the treble staff. B is above the first ledger line above the treble staff. C is upon the second ledger line below the treble staff. D is above the second ledger line above the treble staff. E is upon the third ledger line above the treble staff. F is above the third ledger line above the treble staff, while G is upon the fourth ledger line above the treble staff. And it can continue, it can go on and on. It can have more and more ledger lines above the normal staff of the G clef. Note, do not learn the ledger line first until the notes on the staff are properly conquered. Don't first rush to learn the ledger line. First of all, learn the lines and spaces of the word, the staff. Learn it first before going to the ledger lines. Also, you should know the treble notes before attempting the bass notes. So you don't rush. Just like what we have here, this is an exercise which we are going to practicalize. This is C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. This complete notes on the word G clef. Once again, we've looked at the ledger lines below and above the G clef. In our subsequent class, we're also going to look at the names of the bass or F notes. Remember, we said we have G clef and F clef. We have looked at the G clef. We also looked at the ledger lines below and above the G clef. So in our next class, we are going to look at the names of the bass or F clef notes. We're also going to look at the ledger lines. When we are done, we now enter into the real practice, where we now showcase what we have learned. Once again, we encourage you to subscribe to our platform for adequate training. Thank you very much for listening to our program.